fueled by lies. Lies by the defendant targeted at obstructing a bedrock function of the U.S. government, the nation's process of collecting, counting, and certifying the results of the presidential election.
Live pictures tonight from the nation's capital. This is Special Counsel Jack Smith announces additional charges against former President Donald Trump, this time in connection with attempting to overturn the 2020 election.
And that indictment is once again historic. It marks the third time a current or former president has been indicted, and it is now the second indictment from Special Counsel Jack Smith. So let's break down all those charges as they were unsealed. He is facing charges of conspiracy to defraud the United States, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction and attempt to obstruct an official proceeding, and conspiracy against rights.
And here's what's inside that indictment. Prosecutors say Trump lied to the Georgia Secretary of State as a way to, quote, induce him to overturn the election. This is during a call in which Trump asked for Georgia's popular vote count to be altered and to call into question the validity of President Biden's electors' vote. Now, it also alleges that Trump exploited the January 6th attack as a way to convince members of Congress to delay the certification of Biden's election win. Now, Special Counsel Smith provided a statement after the indictment was unsealed. During that statement, he stressed the unprecedented actions from January 6th, calling it an assault on American democracy. He also went on to speak about the law enforcement who were defending the Capitol that day.
They put their lives on the line to defend who we are as a country and as a people. They defended the very institutions and principles that define the United States. Since the attack on our Capitol, the Department of Justice has remained committed to ensuring accountability for those criminally responsible for what happened that day.
Now, meanwhile, the U.S. Attorney General is praising Smith's investigation. He also provided a brief statement on the case.
The career men and women of the Justice Department engaged in what has become the largest investigation in our history. Mr. Smith and his team of experienced principal career agents and prosecutors have followed the facts and the law wherever they lead. Any questions about this matter will have to be answered by the filings made forward.
Now, the former president also took to his Truth Social account tonight to react. He claims that Special Counsel Smith brought this case right now so it would meddle with his 2024 presidential campaign.
We're also seeing reactions, of course, across social media from Trump's third indictment today. Lydia Bice has been tracking these from the Now Desk. Who are we hearing from tonight, Lydia?
That's right. So first, Ohio Representative Jim Jordan took to social media saying, quote, "When you drain the swamp fights back. President Trump did nothing wrong." Next, former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi posted this evening saying that the charges alleged in this indictment are very serious, and like every other criminal defendant, the former president is innocent until proven guilty. But she also said that our founders made it very clear that no one is above the law. Next, former President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr.
Dayton is actually wanted by Miami County law enforcement on several charges. Police say 34-year-old James Arthur is wanted on 2 counts of aggravated robbery, 1 count of felony identity fraud, and 1 count of misdemeanor theft. If you have any information on where he might be, you're asked to call the number at the bottom of your screen.
Communities across the Miami Valley celebrating National Night Out. That is when city leaders and law enforcement come together to help strengthen relationships with communities. Gwyneth Falloon is following that for us tonight, joins us now live. You were at Dayton's event earlier. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I was out at Stewart Patterson Park earlier this afternoon in Old North Dayton. That was just one of many stops for DPD this afternoon. And this event, National Night Out, it's all about strengthening ties and relationships within the communities they serve, all in hopes of building trust.
Trust is the essence of everything that you do, right? So this fosters that trust that we try to work on the whole year, and this is just a special night to make sure that we can see as many people as possible in one setting.
And what are community members saying about the event, Gwen?
Well, they say they actually feel more comfortable seeing some familiar faces out patrolling their neighborhoods, and they tell me it was also a great opportunity to bring their kids out and show them that officers are there to help. Back to you.
Gwen, thank you. Well, the Ohio State Highway Patrol taking to Facebook tonight for this post right here. Police arrested a man after they say he pointed a laser at OSHP's helicopter. Take a closer look at the video. Just last week, troopers were helping Dayton police when someone pointed, yeah, right there, you can see it, a laser at the aircraft. That's a dangerous situation and is actually a second-degree felony here in Ohio. The pilots guided ground units to the suspect, who was then arrested.
The city of Trotwood has been granted a court order for preliminary injunctive relief against Bear Creek Hillgrove Cemetery. Now, the order gives the city authority to handle cemetery operations and maintenance during the pending litigation against the cemetery. The original lawsuit was filed because Trotwood community members say that the cemetery is not being maintained properly and that burial records are unavailable. The city is asking for patience as it gains control of the cemetery itself.
4 months ago, the Wright Company factory was devastated by a fire. Now there are efforts to restore the historic landmark. Elena Brown was there this morning to hear the plans.
The building behind me has been a huge part of Dayton since 1909. It was the first place in the country used to manufacture airplanes, which is why it was so devastating to see the damage that was caused by the fire back in March. But I'm told hope isn't lost yet.
I am pleased to announce that working with the House Appropriations Committee, I've received their support for an additional $4 million that will go to the overall costs of renovating this and putting it back into the ability to tell the story of the Wright brothers.
The building and the surrounding property are possessed by the city, who are actively working to get the damage assessed. Now, the investigation is still ongoing to determine a cause, but at a press conference today, arson was mentioned to be at play. Back to you.
Melena, thank you. With the government avoiding default on the federal debt, the White House's push to kill the debt ceiling, though, for good.
Also, the famous Cincinnati sign is on the chopping block, the new petition to save the nearly 2-decade-old landmark.
Plus, I'm tracking the heat by later this week, how much warmer we'll get. That's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Well, Dayton was not the only community celebrating National Night Out. Trotwood, Riverside, Beaver Creek among the cities and communities that had events as well. So we'll start with Trotwood. Residents, police, and fire came together with a car show and free activities for the kids. It's sponsored by Home Depot and was held in the parking lot of the Salem Avenue store.
It gives the community something to look forward to, especially with the kids right before school starts.
Now, this is the 8th year the event was held at the Home Depot, giving the community the chance to come together and embrace a unified effort to prevent crime and raise awareness.
Now let's take a look at what they had going on in Riverside. It was held at Stebbins High School. The Riverside Police put it on quite a show. There we go, with music and Irish dancing.
This is a huge event that helps us bridge the gap with our residents and the community, and continues that strong relationship.
Riverside Police even had some of their emergency vehicles on display for the kids to check out firsthand.
And finally, over in Beaver Creek, police held their event at Rotary Park, teaming up with the Beaver Creek Parks, Recs, and Culture Department. Their event had food trucks, inflatables, even a dunk tank where attendees could douse volunteer police, community leaders, and even other residents in a tank of water.
We need to continuously build a relationship with the citizens of our community, make sure that they know that they can reach out to us for anything that they have a need for.
The Beaver Creek Police hope to continue to promote a strong police-community partnership and boost crime prevention awareness. All right, here's a live look now at the full moon. And Natalie, this has got a special name to it too. It's a supermoon, right?
It is a supermoon, so it is going to appear just a little bit brighter as well as a little bit bigger because it is closer in orbit to Earth, but it's also the sturgeon moon, which is named for the time of the year that sturgeon are typically caught the most, which is the month of August. Now, this is the first of 2 supermoons for the month. That's a rarity. The next time that happens will be January 2037. So the next full moon, supermoon, is going to be on August 30th. And that is going to be, again, another supermoon, which will be a nice sight to see. But beautiful evening out there to see that moon, and a beautiful one for tomorrow, too. Greene County Fair, if you wanted to head out there, we're tracking mid-80s humidity. You'll feel it a little bit, but not terribly humid for the day tomorrow as well.
Well, we recently told you about how the famous Cincinnati sign could end up on the chopping block. Now, a Fairfield Township woman has started a petition to save it. Luke Jones was outside the Duke Energy Convention Center, where that sign has stood for the last 17 years.
Last week, we told you how the iconic Cincinnati sign could be taken down. It's part of 3CDC's redesign of the Duke Energy Convention Center. Well, a lot of people are upset about this, and a Fairfield Township woman has started a Change.org petition to save the sign.
History and, branding for a city, I think, is really important, and I'd hate to see Cincinnati do away with something that's well known. It's already there. It's already paid for.
Amanda Lehman, who you heard just there, says she hopes 3CDC realizes how popular the sign is and decides to keep it. 3CDC tells us they haven't ruled out keeping the sign, but they're also still exploring something more versatile and customizable. A final decision is months away. In Cincinnati, I'm Luke Jones.
Senator Sherrod Brown speaking today on the recent passage of the National Defense Authorization Act for 2024, which includes major funding for Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. $25 million, in fact, will continue to work on the Air Force Life Cycle Center and Acquisition Management Complex.
Means prosperity and jobs for the Miami Valley. It's also, fundamentally, it's so important for our national defense. And Wright-Pat is the tip of the spear in that. And we kept politics out to get this done for our military and the Miami Valley economy. I'll keep working with Congressman Turner to get these bills passed in law.
President Biden still has to sign the NDAA into law. And 2 months after hatching a deal with the GOP to avoid a default, White House officials are now exploring ways to kill the debt ceiling for good. The idea is to form an internal working group to find a solution, but with no timeline for results. The plan is not going over well with progressives, many of whom say time is of the essence as yet another debt crisis looms just 2 years from now. President Biden remains focused, though, on touting economic gains.
We got a long way to go in the economy. I'm here to say we have more work to do. We have a plan. that's turning things around pretty quickly.
Now, calls for workarounds began after the deal was hammered out.
Well, here's a live look from downtown Troy tonight. It is a beautiful evening if you happen to step outside. We're on the Watson's Weather patio. No bugs, no real humidity either.
Feeling pretty good out here,
Yeah.
and that'll be the case again tomorrow. A little more humidity. You'll start to feel it creep back up a little bit, but not terrible.
Okay, as long as it's not terrible.
Yeah. By later this week, it may get close to terrible, but not as bad as last week. Here's a look at what we're tracking, though. Next several days, temperatures are going to be climbing back above normal, mid-upper 80s, so normal high 85 degrees. We're going to be climbing above that, back up to 89 by Sunday, pretty close to 90, and that will be with some of the humidity in place, too. As far as our overall temperature trend, so this is from the Climate Prediction Center. So the blues indicating below normal, the reds indicating above normal. We're going to be right around near normal temperatures for the Miami Valley as we head into next week. So I'll have a look at that 7-day, talk about what we're expecting for the rest of the week coming up.
Well, a local man determined to revamp basketball courts is getting community support. How his restoration efforts can help kids here in the Miami Valley. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
A Middletown man looking to make a difference, one basketball court at a time. Tyler Madden has more on his story.
Cedric Burns-Davis began replacing nets at basketball courts across Middletown just a few weeks ago, and in that time he's replaced dozens. He says courts like these are important to kids of all ages as the game of basketball serves as an outlet.
This is their only way to get their anger out, their frustrations. Their home may be in a disarray. You know, their parents may not be there as much as they would like them to be. That's why I call it my safe place. I was protected here. All of my friends were here. All of the older people were here that would look out for us, and they would be around this area between this court, the court over here.
Burns-Davis says he has no plans of stopping now. After replacing more nets, he plans to repaint backboards and the lines on courts across Middletown. I'm Tyler Madden reporting.
Well, with your help, we have successfully stuffed the bus, and after your help with last week's school supply drive, the bus has been now unstuffed. All those donations for kids unloaded at Cranston classrooms this morning. They'll now be sorted, then distributed to teachers across the area for free.
So the effect is really impacting those families that are most economically challenged. So this will help us, help teachers, help the students that are going back to school without the things that they need.
So from all of us here at Dayton 24/7 Now, thank you for your help in supporting teachers and students around the Miami Valley.
And if you weren't able to take part in the Stuff the Bus last week, well, we do have another way you can participate. Ohio's tax-free weekend is coming up this weekend, so take advantage and help out area school children. Dayton 24/7 Now, we are proud to partner with McDonald's for the Back to School Basic School Supply Drive. It also benefits Cranston classrooms all week long. You can bring your donation to any McDonald's restaurant.
Obi Toppin back at his old stomping grounds. Why for the Flyer star, he says he continues to come back to UD.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Hello, I'm Matt Digby with a look at sports. Former Dayton Flyer Obi Toppin is in town this week hosting a basketball pro camp. It's been a busy couple of months for Toppin. He was with the New York Knicks when they reached the second round of the NBA playoffs. Then at the beginning of July, he was traded to the Indiana Pacers. But Toppin says his connection with Dayton is strong and he intends on continuing to give back.
I'm always going to have a camp here. It's going to be other camps other places, but I'm always going to have a camp in Dayton. I got to. It's like I said, it's like my second home. I love coming back here. I see a lot of familiar faces every time each year, and there's more kids coming. So eventually it'll grow, get bigger, and we'll see where it goes from there. Just be patient, have fun. I'm young, and just learn and grow every single day.
Well, the first week of preseason continuing for high school fall sports in Ohio. Centerville football is continuing their preparation for preseason scrimmages. The Elks, who reached the regional semifinals last year, say they're not quite focused on week 1 just yet, but they're also adapting to a new team following the graduation of last year's seniors. Centerville coaches are thankful for that class, but they're ready to see new classes step up.
We're grateful for our senior class last year. They were incredible leaders. They demonstrated on and off the field, what it means to be a man of Centerville. And hopefully these guys were watching and learning. Some of them got to play and some of them didn't, but a lot more of them will be playing this year. We had a week off before this week, so the guys came back rested and healthy, and the energy's high, the enthusiasm is high. And the same goal every day is just to be a little bit better than we were the day before.
Over in the Women's World Cup, the U.S. national team finishing group play Tuesday against Portugal, the game ending in a scoreless draw. So the Americans do advance to the second round, but the U.S. was favored to win the match